For 48 hours, cards will fly, chips will fall, as a succession of the world's greatest poker players lay their reputation on the line. But those reputations will also be under a spotlight with player evictions. There will be no escaping the votes cast, and there will be no escaping the big game.
The big game started with a star-studded cast including WSOP bracelet winner Jennifer Tilley and top female pro Lawrence Grandin. 2 women facing 6 men. Every few hours, tension gripped the table as the votes were counted. The very first big game eviction narrowed it down to 2 big names, Dusty Schmidt and Luke Schwartz.
I can confirm that leaving the game next is seat number 2, Dusty Schmidt.
Dusty Schmidt headed off into the night to be replaced by Justin Bonomo. Bonomo stepped into the relentless bear pit of action. Tilley, satisfied with her night's work, decided it was time to make for the door. It was left to GUKPT winner Sam Trickett to take up the challenge. His arrival was quickly followed with the exit of Lawrence Grandin. Another quitting whilst ahead. Grandin's seat was filled by the larger-than-life Phil Locke, and the game took another twisted turn. The threat of eviction was never far away. Viffer's aggression had one redeeming feature. He was exempt from the vote, but this one had a twist.
Boys, there's been a tie.
Luke Schwartz survived, but Robert Williamson III didn't. In came Bodo, but there was no stopping Viffer, who continued to apply the pressure. But the biggest clash came as Luke Schwartz and Viffer went head-to-head with over 45,000 pounds at stake. Isaac Haxton, down on the evening, decided it was time to go. Dan Fleischman stepped into the fray, but it did little to dent Viffer's aggression.
Okay, I'm gonna call it a night. I'll be back tomorrow, guys.
As Justin Bonomo bowed to the inevitable, his seat was quickly filled by Andrew Feldman. Dan Fleischman clashed with Viffer from a position of strength. The flop turned the tables Viffer's way, and the river confirmed the worst fears of Fleischman. Schwartz, who had endured a miserable evening, followed soon after. Viffer was never far from the action. Again, he clashed with Channing, who after a slow start was starting to make his presence felt. And still they came. Months the next man to take up the challenge. But all, new and old, had to watch as Viffer's aggressive play dominated the table.
God, what does a guy got to do to get paid off around here?
The vote saved some. Bodo had made enough to feel satisfied with his night's work. James Mitchell quickly rising to the challenge. Fleischman took that as his cue to leave. Jennifer Tilley's brief visit to the table saw her take away over 30K. Channing, still battling away, isn't far behind. Williamson III there voted off, but happy to take over 20K. Grandin knew when to quit, but the big talking point is the rise of Viffer from the ashes, now firmly in the black. At the other end of the scale, Luke Schwartz is really suffering, nearly 40K down. Bonomo endured a painful night. Marrow, the first man off the table, left 15K there, but there's a never-ending supply of players waiting to take their chance.
After Dan Fleischman leaving the table, we'd like to give a warm welcome to our next player, Oscar Pardo.
He pipped over 1,500 players in the qualifiers to get a seat at this table. This is now his big chance to make a real name for himself.
I guess I will be trying the waters and choosing my spots and trusting my instincts, and if it doesn't work, I will have to get lucky.
And Oscar Pardo shaking everybody's hand before he fleeces them. 5,000 pounds in, jacket off, and what do you know about this man, Matt?
Literally zero.
Well, then we're even, but I'm sure we'll find out pretty quick. And just like that, game gets underway now. This game has gone from 25.50 to 25.50 with the obligatory 100 straddle and the 500-pound a man 7 deuce. And both of those have got the action depleted. Now, Mitchell and Pardo both coming in, Matt. Those have kind of been the death seats from the start of this game. Anywhere from the right side of Viffer is a tough spot. And you might not recognize Muntz, but hoodie down, sunglasses off, and here we go. Oh, Viffer with the opening raise, a couple of calls. This has sort of been a flop game.
Well, it lasts long enough. No one needs to do any hit and run, do they? So you like to think people are here to play, see some flops, get some action going, and obviously they're worried about the eliminations. A long way off now, the next elimination, isn't it?
Viffer has got Trickett by the hairs
Bet 800.
in his crossbow.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want, isn't it? You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, as they say, and that's what you want. You want to hit it big and have your opponent hit it big enough that you can be sure to get some value from it.
Oh, I mean, Trickett, he can, well, looks like Locke may get in for this. And now with Lock-in, I wonder if Trickett might feel like the check raise is the move. He's called. And certain cards, a lot of cards are going to get this pot real big.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's got to go very specifically for Phil Lack to want to carry on in their hand.
Oh, gosh.
Check.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Phil's out of that, I'm sure, because there's going to be some chips going straight into this pot.
Okay, bet 2,250.
And Viffer's going to have a think about this. Obviously, he's aware of the King-Jack, Matt, but...
Yeah, it's just how paranoid do you want to be?
Right.
It's impossible, isn't it? Yes, there's no reason why that isn't a hand that Sam can have, but similarly, you can say that about every single hand you play in poker.
And the problem is, if Trickett shoves, he's got about 17 grand back, so he could make this. He could call this plus. Geez, I guess make it about 12, 13 more. This is one of those scenarios that, in anything but super deep stack, no limit Holdem, the money just goes in.
Yeah.
Yet they're so deep stacked, however, that it's not for sure. And this pot now 16,000 plus. Trickett's got 12,000 back, and that card completed a straight draw.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, from Viffer's point of view, is he must think there's no way that Sam can put me on this hand specifically, so he doesn't know if Trickett is playing strong because of how strong he is, or just because it's going to be impossible for him to put Viffer on that hand. The straight, I'm sure, won't really... I guess it could potentially worry them.
I mean, he's going to stack him in anyway, and Trickett's not folding.
Yeah, it is tremendously hard to see how either player can just not love this, and then you start doubting it because the other opponent seems to like it so much.
Yeah. Bet 2,300.
And I kind of feel like Viffer now might decide that raising is not his best option.
Such a small bet in there, 2,300 into 16.
How much do you have left?
Both these players are tense because, you know, half of them have the paranoid
9K.
part of their brain front and center. And Viffer, who started this pot up at about 15 grand, is certainly not going to finish it that way.
Okay. Raise to 6,000.
He's gone for a smallish sort of raise, and
Should have gone all
well, it's just
You flop so many sets, man.
yeah, the pot odds
How much
dictate
to call?
he's never going to pass here.
3,007 more.
No, and it's the
Six
same as you
6
pointed out.
altogether.
It's, you know, the first thing that comes to Sam's mind is the sixes and the
3,000
threes for having a set against.
3,000.
But I think he's definitely going to call himself off.
I have the same hand, you know.
Yeah, that's another thing that
King-Jack?
occurred to me a while back, but
King Jack's good.
you're still going to call it.
He is, and how big's this pot? This pot's big. Viffer's taken a big step backward, and Sam Trickett, who has just recently got to even, is now thinking about winning a bundle. Welcome back to the big game. Over 18 hours down in this 48-hour cash game. Oscar Pardo, Matt, he hasn't played a hand yet, really, and I guess the plan is find a spot where people have put some money in pre-flop with the hand and shove all the chips in.
I guess, but that doesn't really seem to, you know, you've got to have a bit more than that in your armory to come out of this game profitably.
James Mitchell.
I'm going cards that I've had hands all night. Now I'm starting to go cards that I don't know.
Barrett.
When do you need cards to play?
Since you guys don't fold no more, I have to turn over hands.
A lot of people, probably including James Mitchell, would consider, you know, there's sort of a mentor-protege relationship, or there used to be, between Channing and Mitchell. There wasn't a prouder guy in Ireland when James Mitchell won the Irish Open than Neil Channing. But they'll go at it here.
Oh yeah, no, all friendships are off once you're down at the felt.
Check.
And
I mean, but this is a perfect example why things like the King 10 have to get involved, is because look at the range of hands that people are coming into these pots with. You know, you said it early on, but there's going to be flops here, there's going to be all streets of action, so you've got to be in.
Okay. 825 is the bet. 825 to play.
tough spot for Neil Channing here. If you could see what was out against him, he would definitely fold, but...
Yeah, and I mean with a board like that as well, because you get the feeling that people that have connected with that are going to have quite strong hands and are going to find them quite hard to let go. So if you can make the flush, then you can put a value bet out that, you know, a big 2 pair is going to find it hard to let go, or the...
Phil Lock's kind of counting his... He's counting his stack here.
43.50. That's what it feels like. 43.50.
I think, I mean, it looks like, you know, he's kind of got that sort of stack.
Probably not a good time to ask, sir, but could you break this down for me?
If he bets 4,000 now, and then follows with the 7 on the river, hit it or not, you're going to have to be some kind of man to call him.
Yeah.
I think it's, what do you think? I think it'll probably get through.
I think so. It's pretty scary, isn't it? No one here has got quite enough to feel like this is a good spot.
Muntz has only got 6,100 back, so this is a question for his stack. And I mean, he doesn't look like he's about to do cartwheels, does he?
It's only 8.25.
He can only beat a bluff, basically, right?
But I got a pep peeve. Wait, hold on a second.
And the problem you've got is if it's a semi-bluff, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you calling here makes you a genius, because you can still come out this
if he should call, then you can scoop it all. He folded?
Give her a chance. You gotta give her a chance.
Oh, it's hard.
Okay.
When it's all clumped up. It's when it's separated. It's easier. Right? It's easier separated. Right. Whatever, guys. Okay,
very
I got enough so I can bluff
spot.
the river if I miss. So let's go.
And yet, the board is odd. I mean, is it king, queen? Is it deuces, 3 deuces, 3 threes? Is it...
Yeah, I mean, that is the problem for Muntz here, is he can put Phil on a bunch of hands, but he ultimately has just got himself the top pair, and there's still a card to come that could really shake things up. Any part of the Broadway straight,
really hoping you didn't do
flush
that.
card. You know, it's a good call now, but you hate the fact there's still a card to come.
You want to run twice, Simon?
He manned up.
2 more.
2 more? Exactly?
Exactly.
I get this bit back? Like that? You want to run twice, Simon?
Call.
No. No? 1 time then?
Uh-oh.
1 time, a Viking. Let's go.
1 time Charlie. Lock's got outs, though.
That's it.
That wasn't one of them.
No.
And for...
No, I think Simon knew exactly where he was there.
Seemed to, didn't he?
Yeah.
He really pulled up his belt and hitched his pants and got the money in. Turned down the run it twice and is now a solid winner in this game.
Yeah, no, that was good. Nice, calm, took his time, had a proper think, and that's it. Once he got behind his decision,
Rebuy and crossbook.
rode it all the way to victory.
That's my only way out now, huh?
And for Phil Lock,
4, 5.
He's been playing a very active game. It's all gone to pot so far.
Okay, one straddle, seat one.
He may be raising his hand.
Not
for
with the biggest winner in the game.
Who's the
Thank
biggest
you.
winner?
From this point forward, looking back at my time machine,
one.
I see Viffer winning 66,420.
I'm losing.
I know, but you're gonna go on the 66,420 rush. I can feel it. I can feel it, Biff.
We've only
I've
been
seen you
off
do it
that
100
break
times.
and
Why
the new
not one-on-one?
players for what, about 25 minutes, Matt? And the game dynamics have switched so much. You know, is Trickett going to be unlockable? I wonder.
No, I don't. I
Raise to
don't.
350.
I think that Sam will wait for,
350 is the bet.
as he always does, wait for the opportunity he fancies, and
Re-raise to 900.
he's certainly not going to lock up until home time, is he?
And Mitchell was in here, first of all, watching Viffer. Second of all, Mitchell, I swear, I'm pretty sure he was half expecting that re-raise. It'll be really interesting to see what happens when this comes back around to him.
Yeah, it feels like he has a bit of an advantage there because obviously he's had a while to watch Viffer play. Of course, I'm sure the guys are aware of that.
Re-raise.
Wow.
2,700.
Wow. Months.
I'm all in.
And Phil Lock over the top. You see that? Get it shut up on both sides.
Yeah, well, I said, you know, you got to watch out the wounded animal. The guy with the short stack, he can just do that to you because we know that Phil will consider that short stack. So
Chips, make that
if he
20.
fancies the two cards in front of him,
Maybe if I win this, I don't have to buy in for the 15. Who knows?
Hold on. Do you want to rebuy for 15?
Well, right now, in the middle of the hand?
Well, if you say yes, then you get it no matter what.
Pass.
That's why you could have a little bit more.
Okay, so it's 4-8 altogether. Yeah.
I'm not really
Okay,
sure.
one time.
This time it's yours.
I have the best hand. I thought so.
Okay.
That was kind of weird.
Lower showdown or?
Yeah.
You gotta show him.
Oh yeah, I'll show. I have ace high.
Ace high's good right now.
Okay, all the way up.
Deuce.
Don't they turn the cards
This
up?
pot's over 10 grand. Anything but the queen or jack.
Ace 10.
Ba-bam.
yeah.
I'd like to
Okay.
see the hand though. It's
Okay.
good. It's supposed to.
Sorry.
Funny sort of thing. I mean, months. It didn't work out for him. That was a pretty
we all know that Biff has nothing.
aware
That's why
sort
we
of
knew it, and I was like, well,
raise he made, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the hand wasn't horrible in front of him, but it certainly didn't warrant that. So it was a nicely timed move. Unlucky that
Okay, blinds 25.
it ran into
50,
Phil with a hand he was prepared to commit all of his chips
It was
with.
an isolate game.
Looking at the profit and loss of the guys at the table, couple guys starting to rack up the win here, Matt.
Yeah, like you say, so much of the profit has left the table, though. There's no one here with a really massive stack to enjoy. Everyone's kind of there or thereabouts.
Well, not as far as winners, but if you look at the stack, Channing and Viffer both have over 50 grand in front of them. So, wow, chance of a six-figure pot. It's a Poker News pot. Brought to you by Poker News. 1,000 pounds the winner of this pot, Matt, and we've seen it get quite lively down there in the competition for the 1,000-pound prize.
Well, this is a lot of money in this. You know, they're not playing at massive levels, so an extra K in the pot. Channing must be delighted.
Oh, he's gone. He's already lost something like 8,000 pounds chasing the Poker News pots.
Yeah, I mean, he does hold the record for the most money wasted trying to win a smaller amount of money than he's spent winning it.
Yeah, that was Richard Wheatley last year.
Yeah.
What, he dust off about $20,000 two in one pot, chasing the 1,000?
Easy. God, imagine if you got 7 deuce during the extra
It's
1K
an overbet,
pot.
but I'm pot committed.
Wow! Phil
I
Lock!
am officially pot committed. By the
He's
way, this is
officially
different than what you did last season when you were doing 2,800 and stuff.
You'd walk
There's
up.
no defense against this. You know, you have to call or fold.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
10,170.
Such a Viffer bet.
How much? One more vote.
10,000.
Oh, I really am wishing this was a 7 deuce.
10,175.
Maybe I should have kept 75 back.
You'd walk a mile for a Chesterfield, but cross the
This is
ocean.
party pot excitement. This is why they
For
tune
a
in.
Poker
You know?
News pot.
Oh, but he has him dominated. What's he doing folding that hand?
I'm an antique dealer.
Just curious, you know.
Is Muntz?
I deal in old stories of getting lucky.
He's not sick enough to call, is he? Wow,
Well, he knows his customer. It's Phil Lack. It is that whole genius nut job
Oh
crossover.
my gosh.
It's
To
not
call
fair
this
have
and
all
be
these
right
math
and then lose
scientists,
would
you
hurt.
know, acting.
Wow, now Locke is stewing himself. He's got the deuce 3.
This is
Quite a
interesting.
decent second-hand saloon call.
Muntz is properly mad. He's
don't know what
properly
overput-
mad. No.
It's a shame he's got Channing between the two of them because I'm sure that's a big factor and he's just getting out the way.
Oh, go on. You want to have a...
I was gonna try to like bite your hand in the blind.
Oh, you could have done.
No, his, because
Oh,
if
okay.
he was seriously considering it,
Oh,
I might have called with it in the blind.
Where's that party pot chip? I love those things.
Show
They
it.
get me all
Now, you know
excited.
what the worst part is? Show us do 7.
Come
Oh,
on,
that
Locke.
would be really
Show him
bad.
the deuce. Show him the deuce, Phil.
What are you showing?
Just muck the
Which
hand.
one? No,
Just
one?
muck
One
the
and a
hand
half?
dealer.
Oh,
These
Chet's
kids can be
desperate.
curious, you know?
Yeah, got to. What's on
Congratulations, Mr. Locke. And here's another 1,000
Why,
for
thank
Poker
you very
News.
much. These are fun, boys.
All that stellar play of yours, Phil. How much are you up?
I'm stuck like 85,000. Stuck 85,000. I'm sorry to take the fun out of it for you guys. I know y'all want to look at the flop and jib jab and get involved and stuff.
Phil Locke enjoying every moment of the big game here in the heart of London's West End. Welcome back to the
Why don't we
big
just add an
game.
ante?
Just coming up to the 19-hour mark.
Okay.
Vipper wants more money. There's a straddle. There's the Poker News chips. Now he wants an ante.
Bring in the ante.
Raise up to 3.
I can imagine it would be.
Pass.
It looked like a real...
300. Call.
It looks like me, you, and Viv. Oh, sorry. You being the witness.
Pass. 300 total.
Such a nit.
And I think,
Total.
See that?
and I think Trickett there is in danger of being evicted.
Yeah, because not only is he, not only is he not playing, but he's not engaging in the game either. He's caught the yawning bug off Andrew.
I mean, if you want to get a textbook now, he's breaking down big chips. I mean, if the textbook definition for locking up the win right now and looking for the exit door, look at Trickett. I mean, does he even care? Yep. Hello.
Can I have a triple espresso?
Rack me up, please. Oh no, I'll have a free sausage sandwich before I go.
Exactly.
Gotta make sure to grab one of those before I cash out. What's the soup of the day?
Oh, whoa.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to do that one for a second.
This is interesting stuff.
Yeah, Vipper's raised this, so this is the continuation bet.
700.
And
Pass.
what kind of spot is this? What would you do here with Feldman's hand? You kind of cross your fingers and call, or you?
Well, I think against Vipper you're probably more likely to call than raise because you can suddenly build a really massive pot against a kind of a quite volatile player. But it's a tricky one because of the spades.
See, like before,
You want to see another card, but you also don't want to see another card.
And Andrew's problem here, he was watching Viffer for a while.
I felt like
Oh, well, it's actually Viffer's problem now. It's not Feldman's problem anymore, is it?
And again, here you kind of use positioning. You can decide whether to bet out or check and hope that Viffer kind of keeps coming at you and make it a bigger pot.
1,800.
He doesn't particularly like the situation anymore, Viffer. He doesn't. He's not hoping to catch flies right now.
Call.
Doesn't look happy about the call, but it's a tough one.
And the problem is, how big's the river going to be? What's he going to do? In his mind, well, the 8 or 9 could come. That might actually slow Feldman down.
Yeah.
I wonder.
There's 3 sandwiches.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense for Viffer to make a play on that.
No.
So.
You could have got it all in on the flop.
Yeah.
Viffer finding his cards deserting him, and Feldman first pot of consequence, and I believe he's played in such a way that he is now better than Eden.
The key to success in these cash games is waiting for the right moments, getting a feel for the other players, adapting to the situations, playing on your table image, and just waiting until you feel the right spots to make your move and go with your hands. Well, the two last televised cash games I played, I was in the top 3 winners. So in that respect, I'm on quite good form. Tournament-wise, not running so great, but I'm hopefully using my cash form to hopefully prevail and be one of the biggest winners here again.
Still looks small.
Well, now the last 2,000 pounds have felt a bit frivolous.
Yeah, maybe so, but I think if you examine his play, I think it's only the same as the stuff he was doing before the big loss. It just feels frivolous now because he's kind of chasing that loss. But he has easily been the more active of the chaps in the last sort of stretch.
Wow, look what a great job Sam Trickett's done with his chip stacking in the last hour. I mean, he's really spent a lot of time getting those stacks in the right spots.
They are pretty, aren't they?
What he has done. I mean, that is one of the most magnificent stacking jobs of 40,000 pounds that I've seen since his 48-hour cash game began. He should be proud of himself.
3 players.
Basically, he can't leave now because he stacked those chips so well he can't rack them up.
No, that's like art. You can't take that away now. It's like one of those mills that just looks too good. You take a picture and then you hate to destroy it, but you're hungry.
6, 8, queen. Check.
Oh, it depends on how this goes, but Sam's probably going to spend a bit of money on this before he gets out.
Trickett's had Viffer's number tonight so far.
Call. Pass.
Is the 7 of diamonds is such a horrible card for Viffer.
Ace.
That's trouble as well.
Yeah. I think we know from our experience now that's not going to slow Viffer down at all.
1,200.
I don't think Sam's going to get out of this. I think he's just going to call his way through.
I put the wrong chips in. Does that go as a raise?
What's happened here?
The wrong chips in.
Has to be 24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to call and actually chucked in a larger chip, so now it's counted as a min raise.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. Call.
You pulling a move on me?
No.
Okay, good. I don't mind.
No.
Yeah, I think Viffer said just you can have it as a call. It's tricky now. Trickett's got him. Trickett's got him again.
Now I wish that the razors stayed, but yeah. I mean, just not going Viffer's way, is it? There's no other way to say it than that.
Viffer's watching him closely. He's kind of aware of the possibilities here. It's also possible that he had some kind of ace something type hand, I guess. And this is a real line of demarcation for Viffer. You know, it's like 2 roads diverge in the yellow wood type of stuff, Matt. You go one way, you're on the long road down.
All right.
Yeah, good decision, Viff.
Yeah, that's good to see.
Wanting to be one traveler, long he stood and then chose the right road.
How can I just take this off? Can I just take this off so I don't hit it? Yeah, brilliant.
Right now, you've got Trickett on a 40K stack and both Viffer and Channing on 50K plus stacks. Everybody else is a little bit half junked, aren't they?
Yeah, Oscar is no longer in profit by 100 quid. But he'll be back. I have faith in Oscar. I think this is a very elaborate trap.
I'd like to predict his his stack remains between 47-25 and 52-25 until some juncture as to when it all goes in.
Do you know what? I have faith. I think he is going to win a 7-deuce game during one of the extra value pots, and you're going to eat those words.
How can you fold one?
I'll tell you, I hope he's onto this 7-deuce thing.
9
because
deuce, I don't care what it is.
It'd be such a tell if
Jack
all of
6
a sudden there's a bunch of guys
quit
have called.
picking on me, all right?
and
I
then
know I'm
he-
the worst player here. I know I'm fat. He's making fun of me. You're making fun of me. I can't take it no.
Well, watch the expletive. This is a family show, kid.
Check Ellis. Let's go start a real game. Come on. Check. Everybody. They take
Hey,
my
the
money.
Rubinator's in town!
Okay, check.
They once wrote a song about the Rubinator. You know what they called it?
No.
The Rubinator.
Brilliant. How do they do that?
I don't know how Feldman's going to lose this pot, but I just got the feeling.
Sixth worst check.
Okay, check.
I know it's the same thing. I get that all the time.
Horrible.
1,000's the bet. 1,000's play.
Nice little tickle there from Samuel.
How much you stuck, kid? Looks like you're doing good. You're up, kid. Do the math, kid.
Cool.
Do the math. You're up.
1,000.
Stuck about 58,000.
Pass.
I'm talking about just this show, not your stock tips from the week.
Pretty big bet on
Is that
this
okay, yeah?
I don't think
Two
so.
players?
turn by Trickett, who now
Five.
finds himself drawing. Not
Check.
drawing anymore.
I mean, at least I'm thinking more like maybe 120.
Yeah, I would imagine Andrew would be quite happy just to check and show this. It's just messy enough out there that he could have run into trouble.
200 pounds?
I can't skip the man too much.
I'm trying to work out what hand he thinks can call him that's
2,500.
worse there.
I guess a jack with a worse kicker.
Look at the way he dresses. He must be very poor.
Don't know.
Not like that one.
Yeah, I guess maybe I don't know, a jack 10 or. No, I don't. I'm not sure.
You know what's going through my head? You saw Vipper block me on when I stabbed Ace Jack when he was commentating, and he floated me. He told me.
I mean, that's real nice of you.
It's a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some added information.
We got like King Jack of Spades.
Wow.
King Jack of Spades, it's a pretty close call there from
Did
Sam.
he call? He
No,
hasn't called.
no. He called the hand pretty much, but he's out of the way.
That hand was definitely going through my head.
Showed the jack. Take
You
it
like
down.
floated me on by about Ace Jack on the
I
turn.
remember
stabbed
that
it, you was
hand
called.
now.
And then value bet the river. I thought you had a king.
Why would you tell him that? Andrew. Why would you tell him that?
Tell him what?
100.
What? Tell him what?
What hand are you talking about?
Oh, now you got wax in your ears? You haven't missed a thing all day.
What is he talking about?
Hello.
The hand we spoke about where he told me what. He told me Vipper bluffed me
That's a
when he
bit
had
rough.
Queen Jack.
Andrew came out of the commentary
It
box
was
and
very
told
similar
everyone
to
the
that
hand.
hand, actually. Nearly
It was
identical.
the very meanest hand. It's not
Yeah.
like a hand you would ask about.
Hold on, what was the board?
I had
Right,
Ace
you
Jack
would
and I led on.
You would never ask about that hand,
My
right?
lord.
Hold on.
I wasn't even in the country, Your Honour.
I'm not even bothered.
350.
You had
Yeah,
against Isaac Paxton.
A scene happened before.
I remember, you're
when,
right.
Earlier
I
on
don't know, I
tonight,
don't know.
Viffer
Whatever.
kind of
Can't remember before.
he sort of stood up in his chair, Matt, and yelled, "I'm quitting this game! You guys all have to pay me 500 pounds each to stay," and kind of stormed out. And then he stormed outside and he started laughing. And I said, "Are you quitting?" He said, "No, he's just joking. I was bluffing him." And then I get the feeling that he's pretending to be angry to get under Feldman's skin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
well, he made the most of when Feldman did the whole "how do you have two pair" there, and he kind of played along with that as well, didn't he? So yeah, maybe he's just having a bit of fun here.
Cool.
This is juicy.
It is, and it's kind of standard of the Channing and Lack
Two players. Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, Neil's been very, very quiet of late, and he's just calling his way into these hands.
Check.
And great spot for Viffer, I guess.
Especially now.
Oh!
2,500.
Neil, slow down! Your Honor. Tell you the
2,500.
really sick thing about this one.
Oh.
And raise
Oh, he's pulling out.
to 5,600. 5,600 total.
10,500.
Is it 10? Oh yeah, sorry. 10,500.
Put some
Sorry.
of those orange chips in.
10,500 to those.
I think Neil's just got caught in a bad situation here, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, two quite fast bets out there.
It's quite interesting. I mean, Viffer's decision to check that turn. I mean, just because Channing is so unlikely to check raise him. You only want to. And Viffer's got that freeze thing going on that he had the last time. He bluffed Channing.
Okay. Cool.
And I think
the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, Channing not tremendously surprised, but was hoping for the best.
I think that comes under the heading of these things happened.
Yeah. Yep.
How much is this?
The opportunity to take a free card.
How much?
And for once it hit for Viff.
Matt, sometimes bad things happen to good people.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes monkeys die.
Welcome back to the big game. Over 19 hours down, just over 28 hours still to play.
I usually only bluff good players, so you're probably the only
100
player at this table I bluff.
Oh, I thought he was going to, what do you call it, give you a rub down there.
No, it's only 100.
Come on, Oscar. Give him aces or something. Well, that's good. How about that?
Come on, you knew.
I'd hoped.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's one of the lax things, isn't it? Is dormancy, Vig. Is that when you've been sitting at a table for 2 hours and you haven't actually played anything, just play the next two cards as if they're aces, because everyone will believe you. Hello, Sam.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Now, we've seen a couple 7 deuces. We haven't seen one turned over, not since you've been here. You haven't seen the 500-pound payout, have you?
No, I've not. I've only seen one 7 deuce and that didn't get anywhere.
You got 8 grand.
I think it was a Jack Queen flop and Neil gave up on it.
Well, Sam's asked how much Muntz has. You know, it's...
A little over. Just a little over.
Are you in the middle as well?
Well, I just mentioned it, you know, I don't want to be totally ignored over here. I'm busy cracking away.
Neil feeling a bit left out that no one cares how much he's got behind.
And Trickett was somewhere... Wasn't sure if he should re-raise or call. He's decided to peel off this flop and what? Perhaps make a play flop post-flop? I guess so.
Yeah, well, it's a good flop to do so, you know. It's, if someone's connected, they can't connect that hard. You can see Simon Muntz has got the top pair with the 8. But I'm sure it won't take too much convincing to get him off that if he thinks that Sam's strong.
7.
Bet 700.
Yeah, so Channing folds and Sam pumps this up to a couple of grand.
Yeah, and has to race. These, looks like he's going to get trapped here, doesn't it? Got the gut shot. Almost like he's convincing himself otherwise now.
Yeah.
See, his situation, right, is that for him there's 5,000 in this pot.
I paid 5,000.
Yeah. And 700 to win 5,000. He's actually kind of got the odds to call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you could make the play.
That's just the one bad play.
One bad play. I want to play bad like you.
Needs a 6.
First of all, you gotta start playing.
Might think a 7's good. Might think he could catch a bluffing card here. That'd be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
An ace, maybe?
Check.
Come on, lockdown.
Yeah, this is interesting, the way that Sam has played this through here. You think for someone that knows they're effectively only winning this by bluffing, he seems to be very, very passive on this.
Yes.
Well, he might have big stack passivitis.
Yeah, unless he's just given up on it, but I'm surprised. Unless
Like
this is now where he drops the hammer, you know, is that here
and
comes
they're making fun of me. At least when you take my money, you treat me
1700
like a
and
gentleman.
Sam
These guys
jumps over the
beat
top
me,
of it.
they insult me.
Bet 1500,
That's all right.
1500.
You know, I think he was planning on folding, doing all in. Muntz has found a sort of a weird kind of bet here.
Could we split on profit and loss? 14, but it's smaller something.
It looks like, I don't know. Looks like his hand kind of deserved an all in. Maybe not. I don't know. He's a funny guy, this Muntz.
The smart thing I do is when he invites me on the plane to play poker on the way back home.
Race.
Good. Here we go. Here comes the payoff.
Yeah, Trickett made the play. He thought it was going to look strongest on the turn. Perhaps he's right. I mean, Muntz will be thinking that he can only beat a bluff. Wow. How can Trickett make this work? This is...
Although Muntz has proved himself to be the player most likely to call light, hasn't he? You know, he's done this a couple of times and called with hands that we'd expect other players just to dump.
He has, but Trickett, he has not at any stage played this like the 7 deuce. So, you know, I guess it could be a flush draw with overcards representing the 3 5s, straight draw on a 8-6 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for Muntz is, does it look like lots of hands that are draws rather than lots of hands that are beating him? And it's, if he decides it's lots of drawing hands.
He doesn't have many ways to improve his hand either, Muntz, does he?
No.
And that's kind of worrying, you know. If you're behind right now and you're Muntz, you're not likely to catch up or pass.
Yeah, I'm wondering if all this time here, I mean, there's not much for Muntz to calculate, so I wonder if he's literally just staring at Sam until he gets a vibe and goes with it. But there's not a lot really to consider here. There's not a huge amount of replay value through the hand because there's not been much action.
I really didn't know what Trickett was up to, but he may have found a way to win this. I mean, this is, you know, he doesn't exactly have the kind of reputation where he'd be check-raise bluffing on the turn. He's
And it's especially strong because knowing that Muntz doesn't have a lot behind him, you know that the player will have got into this hand knowing that it can get to this point where you're playing for all of Muntz's chips, so maybe you look even stronger because you knew that was the conclusion.
God,
I want him to fold so much. As much as I really like him, I really would like to see Sam take down a 7-2. Thinking.
Well, in hindsight, Muntz is going to say, if I was planning to fold to a check raise, maybe I should have just shoved all in and froze him out. Who knows? Who knows? He's like a Jedi warrior. Trying to use the Force.
Yeah, he's literally developing his heat vision, just burning across the table.
I remember, I don't know, wow, yes, no, he's passed! He's passed, show it down, Brown! And, oh, that hurts!
Yeah. Superb, hand it over, he said. Come on, gents, sorry.
Oh, that hurts.
No,
that's ruined Oscar's hourly rate as well.
It has, and the guy it hurts most is poor Simon Muntz, who must want to slink down to the floor. That's 12,000 pounds. That would have got him. He wouldn't have been far from even.
Fine.
You paid Phil?
That's fine, yeah, sure.
Where is it?
Sam, give Simon his 500 back. Sam, come on, Sam. Sounds like one of the players has decided to run up the white flag. Oscar Pardo.
Thank you for the lessons, and good luck.
I think that this game's just playing a little too big for his stack right now, and he's not finding the spots he likes.
No, he never really got going, did he? He never really had that many opportunities, and the opportunities he had, he just didn't really seem to fancy.
I was thrown into the charts with a small stack. It was hard to gamble too much, so I had to wait for good spots and try to get my money in good. And actually I didn't have too many playable hands at the full table with some aggressive players hanging in the pots.
Pardo isn't featuring on the table for the biggest winners. That's still dominated by Jennifer Tilley's brief appearance at the table. Viffer's back up there. Channing has taken a drop but is still looking healthy. At the other end of the table, Luke Schwartz, he left the most at this table. Simon Muntz still battling away but really struggling to keep his head above water. Phil Locke is improving but still in the red. One seat still to fill. Ellis Rubin set to take up the challenge.
I'm what they call an atom bomb. I erupt and I'm very unpredictable.
Who will predict what Rubin will do to this table? At the moment, it's that man Viffer who is dominating proceedings, but there's still a long way to go in the big game 4.